Hello. It has come to my attention that not everybody uses or knows how to use weak auras. And if you're looking to improve your performance in WoW, weak auras is probably one of the best ways to do it. So I'm going to go over just some really, really basic ways to create weak auras, to use weak auras, that'll hopefully help people out. So, I'm here on my Warlock, and I don't really play this character. It's only level 51, and I don't have a lot of weak auras already for it. I have a few that I'll show later, but I thought it's going to be a really good example of some basic weak auras that we can create very quickly. And it's an Affliction Warlock, so most people need some weak auras to keep track of all of their dots anyway. But first things first, before we go into making our own weak auras, let's just talk about taking other people's weak auras. So, I could go over you to Wagio, and I can totally just take other people's weak aura setups. They put them on here just for that. So if I were to go to Wagio, just type in Warlock, and there's tons and tons of awesome weak auras on here. I'm just going to click on the top one, Athanar. I think I've used his weak auras before. These people put in so much effort and make really amazing weak aura packages that kind of keep track of everything. You can see the pictures here of how all this spec does. So all I need to do is I press this button, copy weak aura import string. Whoop, copied it. And then go back into the game, type /WA to open up the add-on for weak auras. I'm going to go to import, and then I'm going to Control V, and I'm going to import his weak auras. Look at all that stuff. Okay, that's a lot of weak auras. And if this works for you, if this makes you perform better, by all means do that. Take someone else's weak aura package. They've already thought of probably everything. Me personally, I tend not to do this for a few reasons. One, there's a lot of stuff that it's showing me. This one actually looks pretty good. This looks more like something that I would make. But personally, I don't like having... These weak auras are usually made to be right underneath your character. I like them being to the left of my character, and no one else does. It's just a personal thing. I've been doing it for 10 years. So I tend to struggle when I have to look down when I'm used to looking left. So I'm going to go to that weak aura, and I'm just going to make sure it never loads. Okay. I might need a reload. Yep. I'm going to reload my UI just to get that off. So by all means, if you find someone else's weak auras that works for you, just steal somebody else's weak auras. Okay? Perfectly good. But if you're like me and don't generally like to do that, or if there is a specific thing you want to keep track of that's not in some of these weak auras, we can make them very easily. So first things first, you just have to figure out what your class needs to keep track of. So as an Affliction Warlock, I need to keep track of dots, right? So it's very important. I just put Agony on the target. Agony, I believe, gives me soul shards. It's really, really, really important that I keep Agony on the target and I don't let it fall off, because if it falls off, the stacks reset. So all I need to do is type /WA to go into weak auras, and you don't have to configure everything because weak auras is really good making this easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the top left and I'm going to go to new aura. I'm going to make an icon, No, whoops. I'm sorry. New aura. I'm going to go from template, which does a lot of the stuff for me. So I'm going to delete this one. Delete that one. Sorry. New aura from template, then icon. The size, don't worry about it. You can resize it whenever you want. So I'm just going to start with default. And then I need to keep track of the debuff agony on my target, right? So going to click debuffs right here because I need to keep track of the debuff for agony because I'm putting that debuff on the target. And it has all of the debuffs that my class has already programmed into the weak aura, or to the weak auras. So I'm going to click agony, and usually I just go to the top one, show only if debuffed. Okay, so now I have this, which I can move around anywhere that I want. I'm going to put it to the left of my character. Doesn't matter where. If I want to make it bigger or smaller, I can click on the corner of it right here and make it really big, which is ridiculous, or whatever size I want. So I don't really care right now, so I'm just going to make it whatever. You can name it whatever you want. I have a few other agony things, some old ones, so this is going to be, I'm going to name it agony test. Okay? So now what this is going to do, without even doing anything, I can just put agony on the target, and this is going to keep track of that I have put on the target. So without doing anything or changing anything, this is actually very functional. I can see it's about to run out. I can reapply it, and there it is. Completely functional, super easy to do. Okay? Now, I like to do things a little bit differently with my dots because I don't like to see it all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change a few things. So first things first, I'm going to go over here to this tab, Trigger. So Trigger basically controls when the debuff is going to show up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, the aura is going to be debuffed, right? And I don't want to see it all the time. So I'm going to go to time remaining, and I want to see it just a few seconds before I have to do something about it, which is generally 3 or 4 seconds. I'll just put 4 seconds for now. So I want this to be less than or equal to 4. It's always seconds by default. So I'm going to click OK. And now it's only going to show up when I have 4 seconds left. Okay, so I put agony on the target. It's on there. I can do whatever while it's doing that. And when I have 4 seconds left on it, which should be any time now, there it is, 4 seconds. So I have 4 seconds to press that button again, because I don't want to see it all the time because that gets messy. But it gives me a 4-second warning. Hey, you need to put this on before that happens. So that's how I normally do my dots. And I'll normally make another aura. I'm going to go to new aura from template. I'm going to go icon, default. I'm going to go to debuffs. Basically just remake the aura. But this time I want it to pop up when the aura is missing. Okay, so I'm going to name this test 2. The name doesn't matter. I'm going to go to trigger, debuff, and down here, show on auras found, right? So it's going to show up when the aura being the debuff, when the debuff is found. But I want it to show up when it's missing, because that's going to tell me, hey, you need to put agony on this target. So I do this button, the drop down, and if I go aura is missing, and then that's only going to show up when the aura is missing. So what I like to do is I put them on the same spot. So now, whatever target I'm looking at, if the aura is not on there, this is going to show up. And then when I put it on, it disappears. And then I have the other aura that gives me a 4-second warning, hey, it's time to reapply. So once this goes down to 4 seconds, hey, it's time to reapply this. And it just gives me that warning, and that makes it really easy and obvious for me to keep that debuff on 100% of the time, because you want to have your dots up 100% of the time, or else your DPS is going to be bad. Okay? So that's how I do dots, and I usually make it a little prettier, but that is completely functional. One other thing I will mention is I don't like my auras to show up when I'm out of combat, and that's really easy to fix, right? So I'm going to click on whatever aura I'm going to work on. So there's 2 agony ones right here. I'm going to go to the load tab, and I'm just going to click the in combat. So it's only ever going to load when I'm in combat. I'm going to do that for both of the auras. So now it doesn't show up because I'm not in combat. If I get in combat, hey, this target doesn't have agony, so this pops up, reminding me you need to put agony on the target. And then I can keep doing whatever until I have 4 seconds left on the, stay in combat, I have 4 seconds left on the debuff, and it's going to give me a warning. Hey, you have 4 seconds left, it's time to redo that. Pop, and it disappears again. That's generally how I do my dots, because again, if there's 15 seconds left, I don't need to know that. I don't need to know that there's 15 seconds left. I don't need to know there's 12 seconds left, because I don't want to redo it then. I want to redo it when there's 4 seconds left or 3 seconds left, depending on what the duration is and what the correct time to redo that is. Okay, so that's dots. There's 2 other things, 2 other really basic weak auras that I want to go over. So the other is, this is probably more applicable to just about every class, because every class has some kind of ability that you just want to use on cooldown. You know, you might have something that has like a 30-second cooldown, and you're supposed to press it on cooldown, but it's hard to remember every 30 seconds. So you make a weak aura that pops up when it's up. It's really, really easy to do. So, excuse me. I have this ability Soul Rot that has a 1-minute cooldown. So ideally I should use it every minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to New Aura. I'm going to go from Template. I'm going to make an icon. The size doesn't matter. And Soul Rot is actually a Night Fae ability. So that's going to be under Soul Rot instead of abilities, which most of your class abilities is going to be under. Where is it? Soul. I don't want the Soul Rot debuff, I want the ability. So Soul Rot cooldown is what I want right here. I'm going to click on that. And I usually start, you can just click the basic show on ready, and that's basically going to do what I want us to do. But I also want to make sure you know how to fix this anyway. So we're going to pick the wrong one. We're going to go show on cooldown, which isn't going to help us. It's just going to show us the cooldown for it, not when it's up. If it's on cooldown, I don't care because I can't use it. But we're going to rename this Soul Rot cooldown test. We're going to do that. So I only want this to show up when it's available for use, and that's really easy to do. All I'm going to do is I'm going to go to trigger, and the status right here, I'm going to, right now it's set to cooldown progress. There's all these different things. Don't worry about most of them. You can look at that at your leisure. But if you just go to action usable right here at the top, it's only going to pop up when I am able to use the action. So if it's off cooldown, I can move this wherever I want. Let's just put this underneath here for now. And let's only put it in combat, just like the other one. Okay, so now let's get into combat. Hey, let's put my dots up. And hey, Soul Rot's available, so I'm going to use it. And then it disappears. Because I don't need it in my face if I can't use it, right? But if I see it, then I know it's a reminder for me to use it. Um, and if you want to do other things with it, if you want to make another aura somewhere else, or if you really, really want to know like when it's coming up, you can make an aura specifically for that. But for a lot of classes, you really just need to know when a particular ability is available. Think like a Retribution Paladin, who has very short cooldowns. You want to know when each one is available so they don't sit not being used. So that's going to constantly pop up every 8 seconds or whatever. Think Windwalker Monk, who has a lot of short cooldowns. You might have an 8 second cooldown. You might have a 20 second cooldown. You want to keep those on cooldown all the time, and if they stay not being used even for a few seconds, that's going to be a DPS loss. So that's a really useful thing to do there. And then the last thing is going to be resources. So every class nowadays usually has some sort of resource. Warlocks have soul shards. I could look up here, but I like to have everything I need to know in a little kind of area here. So we can make an aura easily for that. I'm just going to go to new aura. I'm going to go from template. And for this, I'm going to go for a progress bar. Horizontal or vertical doesn't matter. I'll make it horizontal. And then resources, being soul shards, I'm going to click resources. And if you're doing this from a template, it already has soul shards on here. And it'll have whatever it is for whatever class. Super easy. And there it is. I can move this around wherever I want. Just put it right there for now. And this is going to keep track of how many soul shards I have. Now, because I don't want to overcap soul shards, I want to make sure that this is never full. If it gets full, I want to make sure that I spend it with whatever spender you have for your class, right? And that's all it is. Now, I'm not messing with the looks of these at all, but I could if I wanted to. So with these soul shards, I could go to display, and I can change the color. I'm a warlock, so let's make it purple. I can change the text on it. You can deep dive into this and make things really pretty if you want to. I'm just trying to make this really simple so you can make your own things and kind of learn as you go from there. So, all of these things, I'm going to delete all of these that we just made because I already made these last night. So, what I tend to do, I turned all the ones I made off, but I made a little group here. So I'm going to turn those back on. So now, things that I need to keep track of as an affliction lock, if I go into combat, I have all these things reminding me of what I need to use, right? None of my dots are on the target. So if I can see these dots, I know that I need to put them on there. So I'm going to put agony, I'm going to put corruption, I'm going to put unstable affliction, right? And then I have more cooldowns down here underneath there. Oh wait, look, it's reminding me to put agony on the target, or agony and corruption. Hey look, I'm at 5 shards. I should probably use some shards. Hey, it's time to redo my corruption. Hey, I have these cooldowns up. I should probably use those, right? So let's use that and let's use that. And it's only showing me exactly what I need to do. And things are only popping up when they need attention. So, hey, it's time to redo my dots now. This is really easy to do. I just showed you how to make all of these auras that I'm using, and this can help you dramatically improve your performance and hopefully do more DPS. Again, this is super simple. If you want to let's go back to weak auras. Let's load that never, and let's go to, what was it, Athanar Warlock? If you want to go and look at someone's extensive weak ors like the one that we downloaded in the beginning of this video, this is basically doing the same thing that we were talking about. This is reminding me to put on some stuff. It's reminding me, hey, there's an ability here. This is just a lot prettier than the one that I made. It has all of your defensives and other things. Hey, this changes color when I have to use shards. If you want to steal somebody else's and that's going to improve your performance, then by all means do that. I tend to perform better when I don't get everything there at once, because there's a lot of buttons here. There's a lot of things that this is keeping track of, and that's awesome, and it's objectively way better than mine. But start simple and go from there is kind of what I tend to do. I try and keep things as simple as possible. Hopefully this helps out. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. Yeah, have a good one.